Yo, what is up guys? Welcome to another Wild Rift video, and in today's video I'll show you guys a tier list for every single role in the game. So yet again, yes, yet again the tier list has changed a lot. So the previous tier list that I made was when the tank meta was rising. People were kinda discovering that you can play Gragas full tank. So right now, obviously Garen, guys. The Garen is the whole thing that turned everything upside down. This champion is absolutely broken. I almost put him in the S++ tier, almost, but still, he's not completely utterly broken. He's just broken. So before proceeding to the tier list, a quick thank you to the video sponsor. This video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. If you haven't heard of Raid Shadow Legends yet, then what are you doing? You living under a rock or what? Raid Shadow Legends is the most amazing story mode game on the market right now, and you can play it on your phone. This month, Raid released an insane amount of new content and new things to do in the game. First of all, they released 11 amazing new champions and 200 new missions. If you manage to clear out all the missions, you will get an exclusive legendary champion. Also, they added 5 new tough levels to almost every single dungeon in the game. Cisia is my favorite champion in the game. I mean, come on guys, look at how beautiful those flames are. So if you want to go through all the adventures that Raid Shadow Legends has to offer you, if you want to try out all of the champions, make sure you download Raid Shadow Legends through my link in the description. Alright, onto the tier list. So this is the Baron lane tier list, and Garen S+ tier. This champion is just, he's broken. With the second ability and with the full tank build, you literally become unkillable if you correctly play Garen. Now, if you really want to learn how to play Garen, I have many Garen videos on my YouTube channel. Just look up HellsDevil Garen and you can watch my Garen videos. Same goes for Gragas, guys. Gragas is not as broken as Garen. This champion, Gragas is still broken. It's just that Garen is even worse. Even better, even more broken because of his ultimate, his second ability to tank up damage. This champion is broken. So Fiora, even though Fiora is not a tank, she is just so buffed, she's so strong. But the thing with Fiora is, you have to be good at her. Unlike Garen and Gragas, these champions are very easy to play, and you can actually reach the S+ tier level very easily on them. Fiora takes practice. But if you get really good at Fiora, she is, as you can see, also S+ tier. Now again, I have Fiora videos on my YouTube channel, just look it up, HellsDevil Fiora, if you want to learn her. Same goes for Akali. Akali and Fiora, I would say they take at least 50 games, 5-0, to become, S tier and S+ tier. But that's the thing with these champions. If you start out with them, they're incredibly bad. They're useless. But when you get good at these champions, you can dominate the lane. As you can see, they're just as good as Garen and Gragas, and that's the whole thing with these champions. High skill, high reward. Darius, he dropped from the S+ tier to the S tier. And the thing is, Darius, the nerf, the HP nerf, it got him so hard. So in the early game, you can't punish the start with Darius anymore. But when you manage to just get to the late game with Darius again, and if you can do that while snowballing the game, he is still S+ tier. But of course, the reason that he's in S tier is because it's not as easy anymore, right? Because your laning is a little weaker. So Camille and Malphite, very solid picks. Camille very nice in the late game if you can reach it with your ultimate and everything. Malphite tank, also very strong. See, the thing with Malphite tank is the reason that Malphite is not S+ tier is because tank Malphite cannot really punish the enemies as much as Garen and Gragas. Garen and Gragas deal insane damage while being full tank. Malphite doesn't do insane damage while being full tank. He's still very good as a tank, but he can't carry as a tank. That's the thing. So, the champions below, Pantheon, Singed, Nasus, these are all okay. But compared to the top 7 champions here, they're really not that good. You should really play these 7 champions on top in the Baron lane. These are really the best champions. Okay, onto the jungle. So the jungle has also changed, and as you can see, the top ones are Lee Sin and Rengar. Jungle is actually quite balanced. I almost wanted to do the list like this, but still it's Lee Sin and Rengar are just a little stronger. Not a lot, just a little bit. So let's talk about Rengar actually. Rengar got a hotfix, he got a nerf, but even though he got a nerf, which was actually a pretty big nerf, he is still, it's kind of hard to decide, either S tier or S plus tier. Actually, you know, I just decided it's not S plus tier anymore. Rengar is really good into squishies, but when you're against a tanky matchup, he really, like, you know, he's not that good anymore. He used to be able to just completely one-shot champions, and right now he can only one-shot squishy champions. You know, that's kind of how Rengar works. So he, you know, not S plus tier anymore, but still really, really strong. Evelyn got nerfed. You know, she used to be S plus tier, but still, guys, Evelyn still has that one-shot assassination potential in the late game. You know, if you just get some items, play her as an assassin, you can still just completely dominate the game on Evelyn. Vi, guys, Vi has risen. Let me tell you. Actually, let me know in the comments before I tell you why Vi has risen in the tier list. Let me know in the comments first. Test your knowledge, guys. By the way, you know, also I'm doing a 15 skin giveaway, and all you gotta do to enter is put down a comment under this video. Also, I want to do a challenge for this video real quick. I want to make a Nasus video, but if you guys want to do it, give this video a like. If this video reaches 1000 likes, I'll make a Nasus video, because why the hell not? So onto the tier list again. I'll explain. Vi is good again. Well, she used to be good already, but even better now because of the tank meta. Vi's passive allows you to shred armor, which is obviously really, really good against Garen and Gragas, because you're gonna build full armor. So Vi is a good counter pick against these champions, right? Against these tanky champions. Wukong, just very, very solid. You know, his ultimate is very strong. He can hold his ground in the jungle. And Jungle Camille, guys. I made a Jungle Camille video yesterday. This champion is so strong. But you have to play it the right way. If you play Camille the right way in the jungle, S tier, definitely. Super, super strong. So champions like Shyvana, Jarvan, and as you can see, Rammus. But I want to say one thing about Rammus before you guys start commenting, yeah, Rammus is not that good, no. So Rammus is only A tier against full attack damage. If you're against a full attack damage composition, Rammus is A tier, as you can see here. Very, very strong. Might even be S tier. I'm not even kidding with you guys. And I really recommend you to only pick Rammus if you're against like almost full attack damage. You know, if you're against like full attack damage and the Corki, for example, you know, then you can pick Rammus, guys, and just stack up armor and tank that damage. So yeah, you know, as you can see, the jungle tier list doesn't stop at the D tier, and we all know what's coming. And repeat after me, guys. What is it? Repeat it after me. It is, of course, the Yi tier. You know, my finger got sore from this, but still that Master Yi that trolled my game. You know, you still deserve it. Alright, on to the mid lane. So the mid lane tier list actually hasn't changed that much, only a little bit. Let me explain to you what changed. So obviously Katarina and Diana still on top, you know. However, I don't see many people play Diana. I mean, I see a lot of people do it, but not that many. I'm kind of expecting more people to do it because, guys, Diana is broken. Diana is still so broken. So Katarina and Diana S plus tier, you know. After them, I put Akali here. Akali is close to S plus tier, but not quite, because, you know, Akali takes a lot of skill, and only the super skilled Akali players can make her S plus tier. If you're just good at Akali, it's S tier. So after that, we have Ziggs. Ziggs is still a very, very reliable pick in the mid lane. You know, you can just, oops, my camera just crashed. You can just use your abilities, poke the enemy. Your ganking is very, very, your ultimate, everything. My camera just gave it up. I don't even see my camera anymore. Well, I guess camera then. So yeah. After that, Twisted Faith. So a quick little thing that I have to tell you about Twisted Faith is pick him if your team doesn't have a lot of stuns. You know, if your team doesn't have a lot of stuns, Twisted Faith is very, very nice. Otherwise, he's not good, because if you pick Twisted Faith while your team has a lot of stuns as well, enemy is just gonna buy Mercury threats, right? So that's kind of gonna deem you useless. So keep that in mind, guys. Very, very important. I'm back. Yeah, I'm back. And I want to talk about Aurelion Sol too, because I did Aurelion Sol a little dirty in my previous tier list. He is still solid, but you have to know his playstyle. You have to rotate, gank lanes. Aurelion Sol is still pretty good. And as you can see, guys, this is quite serious. Renekton on top of the B tier. This is pretty high for Renekton. So Renekton is a trash champion, but in the mid lane, really, guys, believe me, he can actually work in the mid lane against melee matchups, you know. but he's like, it's kind of hard, but he's like super good against Fizz, against Zed, against Pantheon, against Gragas, against Akali he's okay, against Diana, he can hold his ground in a lane like that. You can really demolish the enemy in the early game. Okay, what's next? Yeah, Galio with his ultimate. These are all very solid champions. Seraphim, Gragas, Pantheon, already saw Galio. Like, these are all very, very solid. And as you can see, Corki, Oriana are still S tier. And yes, Ari is also S tier. But you really have to know how to play Ari. I'm not going to explain to you how to do it. If you really want to be good at Ari, I have some Ari videos on my YouTube channel. Just look up HellsDevil Ari. But yes, Ari is also S tier, guys. So the ADC tier list, and this one has changed a little bit as well. As you can see, Kai'Sa and Ezreal S plus tier. So you may think like, why is Jinx not S plus tier? Jinx can carry super well. True, Jinx can carry, but Kai'Sa and Ezreal are just, guys, they're just so broken in the patch right now. And let me explain. So Kai'Sa is also pretty good against these tanks, because Kai'Sa's passive allows you to deal percentage damage against these tanks. So when they dive you can just build a lot of attack speed and just keep boom 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 attacking them, and you'll shred their HP because you'll deal percentage damage to them. Ezreal is just, guys, this champion deals so much damage in the late game, and these tanks, like, you can just poke them down with your first ability, and even if they build a lot of armor, you can build a Blade of the Rune King on Ezreal and you'll proc it with your first ability. So these champions are really, really good because of the tank meta, of course. Jinx and Xayah, very, very solid champions as well. So a quick tip that I have for you for Xayah is pick Xayah against diving champions. Against Rengar, against Evelynn, against Lee Sin, against Galio, against Garen, against Darius. You get the point here, guys, right? Pick Xayah if the enemy has a lot of diving champions. Don't pick Xayah if the enemy just has poke champions, and like, just pick her against dive. Jinx is always solid, but I want to say Jinx is S plus tier if you pick her with Lulu. If you pick Lulu Jinx is S plus tier, definitely. But without Lulu, she's just S tier. Still very decent, very good with enchanter support, but not quite S plus tier on her own. And I want to talk about Jhin here, guys. Jhin, of course, he's really bad against the tank meta. And if you pick Jhin against tanks, he's actually B tier. It's that bad. But if the enemy doesn't have a lot of tanks, and if you're against an enchanter support like Lux or Janna or Lulu, for example, Jhin is super strong. He's A tier. Well, not super strong, just pretty strong. He's A tier. And if you want to learn how to play Jhin, again, HellsDevil Jhin, and you have many, many Jhin videos. Draven is really good in the right hands. Draven is actually only good in the right hands. You have to be really good at him to make him work, because they did nerf him, but you still have the amazing snowballing ability with this champion. If you can get those kills in the early game, you can absolutely steamroll the enemy. Tristana is really good against squishy champions, guys. If you're against squishy champions, you can completely assassinate them with Tristana's second ability, and you can jump onto them with your third ability and then jump away. Basically, Tristana good against squishies. And I want to talk about Miss Fortune too. Do you guys remember when Miss Fortune used to be here on the S plus tier? She is so bad now. She just doesn't work against the tank meta at all, guys. At all. So on to the support tier list. And this one changed so much. So I've been playing some ranked games, of course, and I want to talk about Lux first. Lux is S tier. So I played with Keys, which is a good friend of mine, and he plays a lot of support, and he really proved to me that Lux is actually really, really strong. So I put her in the S tier, and she actually is S plus tier in team play. That's because of her second ability. But in solo queue, she's S tier because, the thing is, if you're good with hitting Lux's abilities, you can really demolish the enemies in lane. And, your root, your third ability, your ultimate allows you to deal so much damage as a support as well. See, the only problem is that you're not a frontline. You're not a frontline at all. And you really have to carefully aim your second ability to get the most value out of it, because you can actually hit all your teammates at the same time with it. Janna, always very, very solid champion. You can rotate super fast because she has a lot of movement speed. Her second ability deals so much damage. Her third ability to shield everything, guys. Janna is just broken. Like, I almost put Janna in her own tier, but the thing is, Braum is also broken, guys. And that's because of his passive, really. Even though they nerfed his passive, the stun duration, he's just so busted. His ultimate, his passive, his third ability to shield damage, right? This champion is so good. And the good thing about Braum is he is really easy as well. And Alistar has dropped to the A tier. Do you guys remember when Alistar used to be here? And that's kind of just because, you know, Alistar doesn't really do well into Assassins, and Assassins are still quite strong in this patch. And also Garen. Guys, Garen hard counters Alistar because, you know, Garen can just shred through Alistar's ultimate with his ultimate. That's also partly... I can't speak. Partly... This is the word that I'm trying to say. Partly, whatever. You guys see it over here? I don't know how to pronounce it, but Garen is that word, the reason that Alistar is also not S tier. Leona is very, very strong against enchanter supports like Lux, like Seraphim, like Janna. Don't pick Leona against tanks. Just don't. It's not good. So that was it about the tier list, and I made it very short again because I know that you guys enjoy this more than when I make it super long. So thank you guys so much for watching the video. Thank you so much for Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring the channel. This really helps a lot, you know, the sponsors. So, you know, what was I gonna say? Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all in the next Wild Rift video. Bye bye.